Hello everybody, I've got a project for you if you wish to follow along using a brand new magazine that's out. Now this is the PinkFresh Premium Magazine and Kit. There's so much within here. I've got the additional craft items that you can play with, but of course you've also got the entire magazine full of inspiration to follow too. So what I'm going to do is show you how the layering stencils and the stamps work together, giving you really professional looking results. So let's get started. So stenciling and stamping, I'm going to actually do my stamping first. The reason for this is because then I can see where I'm going to do my stenciling. You may want to go back over your stamp afterwards, but I'll talk you all through that. So there are papers and there is a die as well. And the papers are absolutely stunning, beautiful, kind of, I'd say pastel colours, but some of them are a little bit on the brighter side of pastel as well. So you've got a real range in there. They all complement each other absolutely beautifully. So, but I'm going to pop those to the side for now and come back to these when I come to finish my card off. I'm going to take some plain white cardstock, and what I'm going to do is stamp my floral image. It's this sort of beautiful magnolia image, and then I'm going to do my stenciling and then decide what size and orientation I want my card to be. So that's why I'm working on a larger piece of white cardstock for now. So the stencils, you've got 5 stencils all together. I'm going to pop these to the side as well, and like I say, work with my stamp first of all. Now you may want to use a stamping platform, you may decide that you want to use an acrylic block. My favourite of course is the stamping platform. This is the Creative Craft Products one, and you'll see me using it in lots of these videos. So just moving everything out of the way so I can put my cardstock down. There we go. Now I'm going to make a nice small card, so if you are over in the US, this is going to be absolutely perfect for you to still pop in your postage system, because I know in the UK we are able to actually post much larger cards out. Now all of the florals and the leaves and the buds and everything are all on one sheet, and this makes your stenciling much easier. So I'm just going to pop that in there. Now what you still have left on your stamp sheet are 2 sentiments. So we've got be the reason someone smiles today, and you are capable. So pop them to the side. I may well come back to those later. So just picking up my stamp. Now as I've always said, if I've got a large stamp, I do place it first, but then I hold the centre and I just lift up the edges and roll them down just to ensure there's no air or air bubbles trapped underneath there to give me a nice smooth finish. Now the type of ink pad I want, I'm going to use Memento, so a nice dark ink, a black ink that's detailed, and put that all over, just like so. This is going to be sort of a template for me for my stenciling, to make sure it's all in the right place. There we go, so absolutely beautiful. Now keeping this paper in exactly the same place while I work with my stencils, I'm going to start first of all with this one. So this one is our florals, our petals. So just line it up over your stamp, making sure that you've got the floral elements peeking through, which I have. And I'm going to take a light colour. Now I think something like, let's have a look at Tattered Rose maybe. I'm going to use Quiche Flamingo. Oh no, let's go brighter. Let's go Quiche Flamingo for the darker colour, the base colour. And then we can go even darker, something like Seedless Preserves for the detail. So you're going to want to work with 2 colours. You've got 2 layers for each part of the flower and the leaves. I would do a base layer in the lighter colour and the next layer, the detail, in a darker colour. So that's why I'm going with, so Quiche Flamingo, a Distress Oxide, is going to be the first one. So just making sure my stencil's nicely lined up and going over like so. So you can see now that the black lines are actually becoming just a little bit obscured, I suppose. They're not quite as deep and dark as they were before. Pop magnet over on the stencil as well. And that's absolutely fine because we can re-stamp. That's why I've left my stamp in my platform and I've left my paper, my cardstock on there. Then I'm going to take Seedless Preserves. Let's just find, where are you? A purple blending brush as well. I get my blending brushes from Craft Stash. So now we remove this stencil and we come to the next layer, which is this one. And this should lay perfectly over the top. Just twist it if you need to, make sure it's in the right place. and go in with your next colour. If you want this to be a really, really subtle look, you could actually use the same ink again and just layer up the colour so you get more depth to the colour rather than using a different shade. It's entirely up to you. You have these options. We're just going over everything there. Okay, so there's our floral. Now if I reveal that, you can see we've got some beautiful, beautiful depth in there. And we need to do the same now with the green leaves. So this stencil should sit over the green parts, the leafy parts of your design. You can pop your magnets down where you don't have anything. And again, I'm going to go with the lighter green first, then I'm going to come in with this one and go in with the darker greens. Now lastly, there's one more stencil for you to use, which is essentially the branches mostly for this and the centre of the magnolia there. And this can be done in something like a brown. So I'm going to take ground espresso, is a really dark brown, but it's perfect for this. So let's just pop the lids back on the inks that I was using and grab my ground espresso. And just take a little bit of this. You've only got small amounts in there, and of course the centre of magnolia very often is brown, so that's perfect. There we go. So there is our magnolia and all our flowers layered up and beautifully coloured in. They look absolutely stunning. Now if you wish to, at this stage, you can now go back over and restamp that, because as long as you haven't moved your paper, your stamps will line up and be in the right place again. And I'm going to do exactly that, just to pick out that detail again. You could, of course, if you wanted to, heat emboss these lines too. So there we go, really give that detail back in on top. Beautiful. Now it's time for me to take my fussy cutting scissors and cut all of these out. So there, I've cut all my florals out, and I can now position them in any way I want to, wherever on a card. I could redo that process a couple of times and then have, you know, lots and lots of them to really fill a big card, a scrapbook page, something like that. Really lovely, easy products to work with. Now I'm just going to find myself a backing strip from these beautiful papers. I mean, there's so many in here and they all match beautifully. I've used quite a dark pink, so I'm actually thinking something along the lines of this blue would be lovely. Something that's a little bit different to the pink and the green. Love that as well. That's a nice deep colour. Let's go with this one. So I'm going to just pull this one out from the centre. There we go. There's lots of papers. You'll be using these over and over again. And I just want a strip, something really simple, a nice strip down. Oh no, let's do a circle. I've got some dies, so most of you will probably have dies within your stash. So I'm just going to find myself a circle that I can cut out. This one might work. Nothing too large. I think I'll have to cut this one out. It's a scallop circle. It's from the Creative range. We sell these at Craft Stash. They're an exclusive brand. Well, this is a really good weight paper as well, actually. A really good weight of paper for die cutting. Pop that into my die cutting machine and just quickly run that through. And back again. That's gone through enough. Perfect, yes. So now I can decide, but actually because it's got green on both sides, of greeny blue colour, I can decide whether I want to use the stronger colour or whether I want to use the paler colour. Let's have a look with the pink in front. The strong colour is lovely. Oh, as is the pale. I think I'm going to go with the paler colour. I think I will go with the paler colour. So let's just pop that down. Let's pop it down this way. I'm going to use my Craft Stash glue just to glue this down first of all. On there. There we go. And then I'm actually going to use hot glue. So I'm going to put, this is my focal point flower. So this one's going to go on first. I'm just lifting up those petals, giving them a little bit of a shape with the ends of my fingers as I work round. I'm going to put a blob of glue in the centre there and position that one like so. Now this one will have the large leaves, so again give that a little bit of a shape. The large leaves coming out of the top of it. There we go. I'm going to have, I think I'll have another magnolia. That's a little bit small to do much shaping with, but just round the front there. I sort of work from the largest down to the smallest. So this one can wrap round, and then this bigger leaf can come in here. I can have these leaves down the bottom to balance that out there. Let's pop that one in there. You don't have to use it all, of course. If you prefer, you could just use a few of these, and little buds can just be peeking out there. Okay, that's lovely. Beautiful. I really like that. I think that's absolutely gorgeous. Now the last thing is to use, now we do have a happy birthday die set here. These are just a little bit too large for what I want to do, so I'm going to come back to the stamps, and onto a scrap of white paper I'm going to put "Be the reason someone smiles today." I'm going to stamp that and just cut that out. Now overlapping the edge of a card is absolutely fine with a sentiment or the edge of layers of a card, but also white on white is absolutely fine too. So I'm just going to put some foam sheets behind this sentiment block that I've cut out, just plain white cardstock, nothing too fancy, but I'm going to place that here, so that's going to not only overlap just the edge of the card ever so slightly, but also overlap the circle, so it's white on white, but because of the foam you get the drop shadow there. So there's a really pretty card. Really pleased with that. I will give that to somebody very special. That has been made using the brand new PinkFresh premium magazine and kit. There's so much in there. I'm sure you'll be inspired by the other projects in the magazine too. And as always, don't forget to share what you make over in the Craft World Inspiration Gallery.